Coming up tonight, Vic and Gary have a fight. Joe Hammond gets told off. Vic tries out a new screwdriver. Sparky vs Plumber on the challenge wall. And we discover how to work smarter, not harder.
Have you ever dreamed of working for yourself? Not just calling the shots, but being the business. Or maybe, just maybe, you've imagined going further. A business with vans, a team, your name on the side of a building, and you not stuck in a loft on a Saturday afternoon trying to find a ring final fault in the dark. Now here's the big question. Once you're up and running, then what? How do you even go from being a busy spark with a full diary to building something that runs without you? Is it even possible to scale up and switch off the tools? Well, tonight we're doing something a little bit differently, because here's the mad truth. Successful electricians do less. I mean that, less. And if you're thinking, hang on, less paperwork, less crawling under floorboards and less house bashing, then you're only partly right. Because the really successful ones, the ones who grow something valuable, the ones who could sell their business and walk away with a decent chunk of change, they figured out something that most never do. Take Charlie Mullins, for example. He's the guy who started Pimlico Plumbers from the back of a van and built it into a multi-million-pound empire, and he sold it for a rumoured 140 million quid. That's right, a plumbing business, but the principles apply to an electrical business as well. Or you can do what most sparks do. Work hard for 40 years, build up something solid, and then at 65, pull the shutters down and walk away. No handover, no sale, just tools in the van and a lifetime of hard graft. Well, tonight's guests aren't having any of that. They've cracked the code on how to build a thriving electrical business, one that grows, scales, and might just run itself one day. So if you're a one-person band thinking about your next move, or maybe you've already got a team and you want to take things further, or maybe you're just sick of working harder for less, then you're in the right place. So grab a brew, stick seatbelts on those ears, because this is eFIXX TV Live, and this is Successful Electricians Do Less. Seriously.
Well, I don't know how I follow an introduction like that, Joe. That was fantastic, and seeing that coming together this week was, yeah.
I can't even remember. What was Rod? It wasn't Rod Stewart, was it? It was the chap again.
Charlie Mullins.
Charlie Mullins.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who he was when you...
Yeah, polar opposites, I'd suggest, Joe, judging by the reflection off the top of your head. And obviously, everyone's going to be thinking, where is Gary and where's Rick? We'll come back to that in just a little while. Obviously, we've got a great show planned tonight. Some really great insights and learnings that hopefully we can bring you today with some fantastic guests. Of course, tonight in association with Simpro, who are helping contractors out and to build better businesses. You'll see that pop up now and again during the stream. There's a QR code if you want to go and check that out. And of course, tonight's show is also sponsored by our friends at LEW Electrical Distributors as well. And again, there's a little competition you can enter there, and £50 you can possibly get off from them as well, which we'll take a little look into. Yeah, so what have you been up to this week, Joe?
Well, I've been a lot of editing. I'm doing quite a bit. I did go to see our good friend down at Doncaster Cables, Aaron. So yeah, interesting how some insulation tests get carried out. So I'm not going to give anything away, because I know that everyone's going to be hanging on at home wanting to know how that happens. But you've had an interesting delivery this week, we've seen.
Yes, Indiana Jones inspired box turned up. We made a little short about that. That'll be hitting YouTube soon. Yeah, we've got a variable voltage source. I've got the best to call it, because I've got into a little trouble on trademarks on that. And obviously, anyone who's been following things in the background, we have a few legal challenges lately to do with things like that. But yeah, hopefully we haven't got that one on that. But yeah, it's been a fantastic week. Now, something video we put out a few weeks ago caused a few problems.
I didn't even see this.
You didn't see it? No. There was. We put a review out of the new VargoBox Pro junction box, and it managed to escape the attention of the people who made the video, Gary and Rick, and Joe in the editing, that the line and the CPC, or as most people call it, the earth wire,
of course,
were connected together.
Yeah. But I think, you know, because no one's taken responsibility for this, have they? So, you know, no one's done what I would say is the honourable thing and put their hands up and say, do you know what, I've made an honest mistake. Yeah. Instead, they've allowed people to just get thrown under the bus over it.
They have. But you had a little inquest, didn't you? Let's just watch that.
Where am I? Joseph Hammond. You are here as you have been found guilty for actively conspiring in allowing incorrect terminations to go out onto the internet.
I don't know what you mean.
Did you see the video?
Yes.
And did you notice the incorrect connections in the Vargo Box Pro?
What? No one did. Look, it was Gary and Rick that made off the connections. It wasn't me.
They were both picked up fighting each other as they both denied making the connection. And as they were found fighting, this can mean only one thing for you.
Oh, goodness, no what?
That if you want to be in for a chance to see another amazing fight, then be sure to head over to the LEW Electrical Distributors website. Sign up and you'll automatically be entered. Plus, set an account up and you could get 50 quid off your first order.
It felt like days had gone by as I was being kind of quizzed under that, and out of nowhere, a chubby Pat Sharp came out and started telling me about an amazing offer from LEW Electrical Distributors. You know, go and watch the boxing, and 50 quid off you.
So now we know what's happened over that mixed wire incident. Gary and Rick have had a major fallout, so they're both not in today. Not speaking, are they? Not speaking.
I don't know how it's going to run in the next few weeks, because I can't keep coming up here if they're not going to sort things out. It's
tense, I would best describe the situation.
It's not a great work environment at the moment, no.
Now, speaking of tense, let's just have a quick look at our guests in the green room. They will be coming in soon. Oh, look at that. It's nothing like tense when you're waiting to come in there, looking like about to finish the firing line.
You look terrified.
I think it is time.
Come on, Jimbo, you look all right.
Yeah, I think it is time to bring our guests in, Joe. Who have we got?
So we have got Mark Brear, head of EML Electrical, and James Cannon, a former plumber, but is currently working at Simpro. So in you come. That's it, come on in. Yep. See, you come sit here, Mark. Okay, electricians all stick together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant stuff. So, Mark, welcome along. Had a fun day?
Brilliant.
Brilliant
A lot of
stuff.
fun.
Right, so this is the bit where you've promised you're going to keep it under 60 seconds. But yeah, tell our audience out there 6 seconds about yourself, where you come from.
Okay. I'm Mark. I'm the owner and director at EML Electrical. We're based out of Peterborough. We're employing around about 50 people at the moment and cover most of the UK. I think that's about all, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll dig into that a little bit further. And the same for you, Mark. What was your life before Simpro? Let's start that before.
So, as you know, I was a plumber in a former life. I grew a business, reasonable size, about 35 employees, using Simpro to grow it, sold it, and then went over to work for the company that helped me grow my business.
Right. Yeah. That's like a Victor Kayam of the plumbing world, isn't it? You liked the product so much you went to work for them.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. We've brought, make you feel at home, we've put an S-plan wiring system out there and a few zone valves, and you seem to have brought a few tools along with them as well, haven't you?
Well, this is what I mean, if you've ever seen anyone make off a cable with one of these, it's, you know,
It was impressive, wasn't it?
It was interesting. I mean, I've never seen anyone make off a socket with that. I mean that's for quite delicate work, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, all we were missing with a 6-foot sledgehammer, and I'd have been at home.
Yeah. Which, of course, means it is time for the Electricians Challenge, Joe, doesn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
We don't know what these times are, so I'm quite interested to see how we get on.
So at this time, obviously, people can gamble along with it at home. So you can put in the comments the name of the person you think was fastest on the wall and the time that they think that they won it in. And obviously, the person who's closest to the time gets to ring Jenny on the burner phone and could ring. We've still got some of those lovely cosmic mushroom lamps, actually solar-powered lamps, which is now we're into the summer season. You might be thinking about sitting outside. They are good. So there's not many people going for you yet, James. That seems to be Mark's the favourite on this one, but we've had surprises before. You know, at last week's challenge, there was plasterer versus electrician. Yeah. But before that, we had heats with quite a few other electricians in there, and they lost out to the plasterer. How embarrassing could that be? Oh yeah, some people have put it in Mark there. See that? No, there's no James. There we go. Oh, there we go. James, 6 minutes 45. There we go. That's.
James, you must be used to wiring the odd, switch fuse spur or double pole isolator if you've had to rip out an immersion or something like that.
Yeah, little bits and bobs. I mean, to be fair, most of my experience with electrics is just moving it out the way when it's been put in before the copper's been put in. But yeah.
So with a 10-way wiring centre, I mean, is that something you're going to venture into there? Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, well, I mean, as a plumbing company, we used to do our own internal wiring and then bring in an electrician to do the final part. Because surprisingly, you didn't find that many electricians that could do plumbing wiring.
What, connecting those heat-resistant flexes together into the S-plan?
Yeah.
There we go. Well, there's plenty of times in. We haven't seen this yet. I was there for recording, so let's cut to it. Right, who's up first? See if Joe's been kind to you in the edits. All right, who's up first?
Going, come on. Oh, it's you.
no.
Yeah, that's you, Mark.
It's me.
Oh, Mark's up first. Look at that.
Well,
There's a handle at the end of the screwdriver.
there is there. We don't know if that was before James, because he's left his screwdriver just to just to one side there. Now, no pressure here, Mark.
Oh, biting the wire.
You're holding up the mantle here for electricians, you know, everywhere. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah, the idea of losing to a plumber really is.
Yeah.
I can't let.
I mean,
I'd be letting the whole industry down, really, wouldn't I? To be fair.
Are you going to be able to head back down the A1 to Peterborough if you lose to a plumber? I mean, is that?
It's going to be hang my head in shame, isn't it?
Yeah. You'd be a bit of a social pariah.
Been off the tools a while?
Very long time.
Very long time?
I went back on the tools very briefly for a few months, about 8 years ago, and we set the company up. And before that, I'd been off the tools for about 10 years.
Wow, okay. So I'm adding that up, 18 years without any major experience.
Big shock.
RCBOs
It was a big shock when I went back on the tools 8 years ago.
It was a big shock today when we saw you here. Look at this.
Okay, I see you've gone with the house tools. How do you find them?
Fine, absolutely spot on.
Yeah?
Yeah. They didn't have no dust on them like mine ones.
Yeah, nothing stripped back or half tube. Well, you seem to be doing all right. I mean, we're down to the socket now. You're wired into the RCB. Are you putting the? Did you used to have to fly lead your back boxes back when you were doing it 18 odd years ago?
Yeah.
Still did all of that.
Yeah.
I seem to be doing it. Doesn't seem like too bad a time. Unless
This is looking
very well
good.
edited.
This is actually looking good. Not too many sharp
To recall, I
edits
must
in
have
there.
lost a fair old bit of time screwing the fly lead back, but
Yeah. Oh right, keeping it
Must be an
neat.
expensive pair of jeans as well, because you don't want to go down on your knees, do you? You know. Oh no, hold on. There we go. You see, yeah.
it's not the jeans, it's the knees.
I see. Is that why you've not done it for the last 18 years?
The knees are knackered.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is looking pretty good. That screwdriver work there.
Yeah, it's pretty rapid. And bear in mind, this is your first go as well, so
Yes.
you know this is.
There's people laying down the gauntlet. Neil Bridgman, the company owner out there, who's will come into outrageous times in a bit. Neil, we'll see how he's getting on. But let's see. Oh no, this is. I mean, I must say, how to undo the screws after you'd done them up. Yeah, it took some effort. I tell you what. Yeah. I thought the RCBO was going to be screwed to the wall next door. Yeah.
This isn't.
I think we need some new ones next time because the terminals are shot. This is actually this is good. This is looking quite good.
Very good. And I'm glad we put the S plan there as well for just to make you feel at home.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So this
James
is what
up
everyone's
next.
waiting for, really.
Yeah, how does the plumber approach it? There we
And
go.
it's not a soil stack, so there's nothing we can do. I can't find a robbing eye. I don't know where to start.
Screwdriver's only for lifting the manhole cover up.
This is it, yeah. He's going to open that. There's no water meter in there. I mean, the socket's fallen. You know.
Yeah. Here we go. I don't know what you're doing there. I thought you was going to start knitting when I saw that. So that was, yeah. All right. Not used to twisting plastic pipes together.
No, this is.
Did these go up all right?
No. I think there was like 3 attempts to get it through.
Me.
Yeah.
Dear me.
Yeah.
And another twist. Oh, it's not going to.
It's not looking good.
No.
No. And again, third time
Third
lucky.
time's the charm, isn't it?
Well, we'll see.
You could have jet washed them through. That could have worked. You know,
There we go.
That would have been quicker. There we go.
There we go.
We're in now. There we are.
Dino Rod will be proud of you. Right, here we go.
So have you ever wired into a consumer? Is it the first consumer you've wired into?
Oh no, this was breaking my cherry.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. How did you find it?
Well, I was ready to flux up the copper joints and get the soldering iron out at one stage. So, that was it. We were rubbing the hot with a rag, things like that. Right, now look at this. Yeah.
That's a real face of concentration. Look
Yeah.
Yeah, it's harder than it looks. I'll be honest with you.
going in there.
Right, let's see here. What's going on here? Right, RCBO here. Yep, you have to undo the terminals.
Yeah, you've not done that with a wood chisel either, because you know, because I mean, you haven't got the widest range of tools in a tool.
Now look at that. Look at the copper on shore there. The last time I saw that much copper, it was a pub toilet. Yeah, to be getting brasso on that afterwards. The show there. Little
The problem is he's used to the push fix, isn't he?
push fits. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, push fix connectors.
Plumbing's easy these days. Anyone can do it.
These days,
We've done our own water heater. So,
yeah, we were talking about your war here.
right, oh dear, looks a bit raggy there. These Klein Tools automatic strippers, I've been quite impressed with them actually. So, yeah, and you use the cutter function on them as well.
Yeah, no, they
Double
saved me.
actions.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, crouching down here.
And did you know that we had to back box? Had to fly lead the back box.
That was a new experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, last time this lawyer were looking for a drain valve and something. Yeah.
I'd have felt more comfortable threading it through the 22mm tube next to it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, a bit of pipe work there. Yeah.
And again, the only reason I ask about fly leading the back boxes is because normally you would disconnect the 10mm bonds off the gas and water and just leave it disconnected after you finish your work, isn't it? So leaving the property with no extraneous,
I think
protective bonding.
From our experience, it was more about putting it in the correct place.
Oh, okay, yeah. Before the soldered T, then that was
Exactly.
that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we are going back. I'm racking my brains with the gas regs there.
Right, we're nearly there.
It doesn't seem too bad. You've not used the crowbar, you've not hit it, and you've not angled it in such a way that it can no longer be maintained by anybody.
To be fair, this was the recorded version, so I was.
Yeah, this was first time out of three ones.
I think your third go was a lot better, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I
I think
got
there's.
out.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, well, we only take the fastest time of the three, so
I think there's been a central heating tank placed in front of that wall now, so we'll not be able to access it ourselves afterwards. So let's have a look at the times here. Now, so Mark, there is somebody you know on here already, isn't there?
Yes.
Who's that then?
Trevor.
Trevor
Trevor
Palmer.
We know Trevor, yeah.
Did you used to work together?
We used to work together, yeah, back in many.
Now you do say you would like to be faster.
I'd like to beat Trevor, yeah.
Yeah, obviously camaraderie. Yeah. Well, we'll go with you first, James. So the first thing we've got to find out are you on this wall, which is the generally cluttered with electricians.
I doubt it, but I'll be very happy if I am.
Yeah. Oh, we're on this one now. This one starts now at 5:32. Ooh. So the good news is actually you are on this wall.
Oh, done.
You did recover since your first horrendous start. And you are in what we call below the marker pens, in outrageous territory. He is on, the person who coined that tonight. You actually did this in 5 minutes and 3.
I'll take that.
Which,
that's a very good time.
Yeah, that is good there. I'll adjust that later on there. So just below Adam Smith, Bob Steve Garton. So yeah, that's sort of manufacturer territory down here actually. So
I'll take that.
That's you're actually.
I'm pleasantly surprised with that.
You're actually above someone who worked at a software company we had on in the past actually. So that'll cheer you up no end. And Mark, right? Okay, where's Trevor Palmer? Trevor Palmer, 4:21. Right, okay, it is outrageous. So I'll have to say, actually, you had a refusal and a second chance, didn't you?
I got halfway through it and was a waste of time carrying on, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a disaster.
Yeah, I got my cable stuck.
But luckily, you did manage to recover, actually, and you actually did it in less than 4 minutes.
Ooh,
so actually,
I'll take that.
And well into the mid threes, actually. You actually did this in all of the threes. 3 minutes and 33. That's an excellent. That is an excellent time. Yeah. But someone been off the tools for a while. He must have been good when he was on them.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think those that I work with will probably say otherwise.
Oh no, that's excellent. And you know what? I think you made a good account of yourself. Bearing in mind, you're probably you're probably the most fastest unskilled person that I think we might have on the board, being a plumber, obviously, on the board. So, I think congratulations for that. That's brilliant.
Thank you very much. No, I'll take that one.
And Steve Skillens won that one, so he'll be phoning Jenny any minute now, hopefully, on the burner phone. And we've got good to see a few regulars joining us. See Eddie from Pegasus Electrical has just tuned in there. Now, obviously, building a business is what we're here to talk about.
Yep.
So, I guess we'll come back. You've been there. You've got the T-shirt.
Yes, I have.
And Mark, you're still on the journey. So tell us a little bit about EML. Did you start the business?
Yeah, we started it 8 years ago. At the time I was out of work, and it was a bit of an on-the-spot decision, really.
Right.
It's a bit of a spare of the moment to do it. We were sort of end of October time, coming up towards Christmas, and it was a on-the-spot decision, really.
Right. So you say you were out of work when you'd been previously working for a bigger
Yeah,
firm?
I just lost my job at where I was working with the company I was working with at the time. I'd been there a year, so it was unexpected, and it was an on-the-spot decision to set EML up.
Right. Okay. So that was the company that tried to put you back on the tools and found out you were useless, and then
Something like that. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, a lot of people just think they're going to go self-employed, possibly doing a bit of subcontract work. Did you just go straight in and set up a sort of fully fledged business?
Yeah. That's where I know Trevor from, because I started contracting and doing a little bit of contracting for a few months, and it wasn't very long before we'd kind of got to the point where we'd got a few others working with us as well. So we started to build it up quite quickly. The vision was, or the plan was, that I'd be off the tools within 3 years, and I'd worked out roughly what I needed to turn over each year to be able to make that happen.
Right.
And I was off the tools mainly off the tools within 12 months.
Right. Okay. Now that's pretty strategic to do that, to start a business, to immediately put yourself in a position where you actually don't need to.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
saying do any real
wasn't
work.
completely off the tools within 12 months, but I was mainly off the tools within that time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So obviously, we always say if you're a good electrician and successful, suddenly work tends to find you. Is that why?
I wouldn't say I was a good electrician, because I was very, very rusty.
Yeah.
I remember my first couple of days I was working with a contractor, and I was helping him do some house bashing, which I haven't done a lot of that at all in my career, and it was a massive shock doing that.
Right.
That was knackering those days that first week.
Yeah. So you said, "Oh, I'm not having this."
Yeah, so because my career before that, I'd spent, say, around about 10 years, if not a bit longer, off the tools. The idea of going back out on tools was kind of, for me, I wanted to get back into the sat behind the desk.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so how long were you in before you employed your first sort of full-time employee?
So I started off originally with bringing in contractors to work with us, to help us, and then within a year, just after a year, we took an apprentice on. And I remember quite clearly sitting there scratching my head trying to work out if we could afford to take him on, because it's the first employee we took on. And that was that was a big step forward, that, we'd all of a sudden we're taking this young lad on called Ben, who was an apprentice at the time. And then within a couple of months, the phone rang, and a young lad called Harry had phoned me up. He was working at the previous company that I'd worked at. He wasn't getting the experience he wanted, so he wanted to know if there was any jobs opportunities. So we took him on as well then. And then probably, I think it was about 3 months later, then we took our first full-time spark on, and then within a matter of months, then we took our first admin on. It was a snowball then that started going down the hill and started getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
Quickly.
So now, if we look 8 years on, how many people are you up to now?
We're around about 50 across the group now.
Yeah. Okay. And group now, that means, so you've group, hold on, that means there's another company in the wings somewhere here.
Yeah, so we've now got, last year we made an acquisition of another electrical contracting business. So we've got another company, CA Brown, that are based just in Lincolnshire. So they form part of the group as well.
Right. So you've spotted another contractor, what, in the same market or different market?
Slightly different, because they do move more food and farming. And controls, in where EML is more commercially based, so we're doing more commercial BMS and EV charging. So while they complement each other, they do also work slightly different sectors.
Right, so you've obviously started your own business, taken loads of people on, then decided to buy somebody else's business. Was that someone were they looking to retire, or just strategic, or?
Looking to retire, and the opportunity came about, so we took the opportunity.
Right, and that business has been going a while, was it?
30 years.
Right, okay, so quite a mature...
31 years now.
Established.
32 years now, I think it is.
Right, and I mean, we don't hear that very often, and congratulations for doing that. You wouldn't be brave enough to do that, Joe, would you?
No, I mean, I was there once upon a time. I was a sole proprietor, but I guess I was too much of a coward to want to take that kind of leap. And that opportunity was there, you know, I could have had, you know, I was working on big contracts, and I think I could have ventured out and started arranging different things. But, you know, when you started talking that kind of big money, I was like, no, I don't want that responsibility. I'm not, you know, I was quite happy in my house in Grantham. I didn't want that. So,
yeah. And
maybe I
James,
should have.
you've been through the cycle, so
Yes.
I guess you built a business and sold it to someone else.
Correct.
Right. So who did you sell a business to?
It was. I didn't accidentally sell it, but I didn't plan on selling it.
Right.
So I wanted to take a few days off a week to go learn some other stuff. I'd been doing plumbing since I was 16. I fell into running a business. I didn't really have a plan of building a business, and you kind of wake up one day and you've got 35 employees. I went to give some equity to the leadership team to be able to allow me to take some time back, and they came back with an offer. So technically it was a management buyout.
Right. They wanted rid of you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Well, we can do it better without you. And I took it and
Right.
learned a whole new skill.
Okay, but I mean, you say you fell into it, but starting, obviously, did you start working by yourself?
Yeah, no, well, going through, plumbers do proper apprenticeships. I'm not sure about electricians, where you go for 4 years, then you do your gas. So it works out about 6 years. So I did a full apprenticeship, then did a stint with British Gas, then came back to being self-employed, did a bit of contracting work for larger contractors, started picking up my own work, a bit like Mark's journey, really. You get more work, you take on your first apprentice, it just snowballs and snowballs. And then, honestly, before I knew it, I had 10 people working for me, 2 in the office. And then we started taking on new build contracts. That 10 became 35. It grows quite quickly. And I think if you don't have a plan, like a structured plan, it can seem scary. But actually, when you're going through it, it's just one step, then the next step, then the next step.
Right.
But it's all about having those foundations,
Yeah.
which are crucial, I think.
Now, a lot of people already asked in the comments about, obviously, paperwork and learning about business and things like that. You worked for a bigger company before setting out on your own, was it?
I did my apprenticeship with a one-man band, then I did about 13 months with British Gas.
Right.
And then went actually back to the one-man band I'd originally done my apprenticeship with.
Right.
But as a subcontractor.
Okay. But then, obviously, starting to build it, it's quite... I guess you could say, to build a business of 30 people and likewise 50 people, you have to get your business experience from somewhere. Where do you get that from?
For me, it was partly self-education and partly coaching and mentoring.
Right.
And I think I started off must have been just at the end of my first year. I think I started with a coach who came on for, it would have been about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. He was with us for, and he taught us the basics of, pointed out the fact, the needs for the cash flow forecast, the needs for spending a bit of time to work on your business, not just being completely self-absorbed in it.
Yeah.
He also introduced me to audio books, which at that time really was life-changing because I'm dyslexic, I don't really read. So being introduced to audio books and having the opportunity to learn from those was life-changing for me, really, because there's so much education out there now with the audibles and the podcast and all that sort of thing. If I get in the car now, I'll treat it as a classroom. Let's put something on, learn.
Right. Is there any top tips at the minute? Well, was there any early books you read that sort of were the ones?
The first one I was introduced was the eMyth.
Right.
Which is a bit of a classic, very, very good book. And another one that I really, really enjoy is Extreme Ownership as well.
Right.
Yeah, very, very powerful books.
Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership.
I was too busy reading Lord of the Rings and how my body works and stuff like that. I should have been reading this kind of. Maybe I'm less of a coward. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll hunt those out. Actually, we'll put those together. Were you the same, James? Were you
Slightly different. I brought in software first,
right,
and then business coaches wasn't really a thing back in my day. So I brought in a non-exec.
Right.
Which is like a business coach, but with a vested interest in the business. I'd advise people to go down the business coach route now rather than a non-exec route because you're not tied to them with shares.
So that third-party person then, who sits outside, you will say is a real critical thing because that's just something I'd never have thought of, that actually bring someone outside who knows this and actually coaches you through it. I mean, again, I just see that as an expense that I wouldn't want to pay for.
No, if you get the right person, they will pay for themselves several times over. If you've got to get the right person, and it's not just about having the right coach, it's about having somebody you can connect with on a personal level as well, and somebody that will hold you to account. It's no good getting somebody who's going to turn up each week and sit there and go, right, what we're going to do this week. You need somebody who's going to turn up prepared, who knows you, who's been in contact with you in between sessions, and is
It's that accountability piece. I think when you become a business owner, you report to yourself. So unless you've got a business partner, you're accountable to you. You have to wake up in the morning. You have to go to work. Like, it's down to you. Whereas a business coach, or in my case, a non-exec, they make you accountable. You said you're going to do this month. Have you done this? Why haven't you done this? And they teach you those elements of the business. I think what we don't realise is when you're transitioning from a tradesperson to a business owner, you are learning to be a business owner. In my case, I spent 6 years in an apprenticeship. You need to invest that same amount of time learning to be a good business owner. If you don't, then you're never going to succeed.
And I think what's really interesting with the coaching thing as well, or the mentoring, whichever route you go down, it's you have to remember that bringing on a coach isn't necessarily going to be somebody you're going to work with for the next 10 years. You might only work with somebody for a year or 2 years and then change it, because it's like almost with a sports coach. You might not have one coach that teaches you everything. You might have a fitness coach, a nutrition coach, and skill coach, or whatever it is. A coach will teach you different things. So sometimes you might have a particular need in your business at one point. Let's say, for instance, when I started off, it was teaching me the early things. Then I went on to another coach who taught me more things on a personal level. Then I went on to more of a mentoring journey with somebody who'd been there, done it, and sold a business, who taught me a different thing about budgeting and the likes. Now the person I work with now is all about strategy and really focusing on that strategic journey, which for us now is what we need. So you have to adapt the resource that you're employing to suit the need of the business at the time.
Right. And through that strategy process, did they identify actually you could grow by buying another business?
That, funnily enough, that came from another opportunity, the acquisition of the business. That didn't come through a strategic journey. It was something that came up at the time that was an opportunity, and we decided to take.
Right. And obviously, is that something you're going to follow? Obviously, buying someone else's business, you could be buying a whole lot of problems that you possibly don't know about. But is that something you'd look to do again in the future?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Right. So what you're looking for, probably established business, and the owner does the accounts with a shoebox, puts it in the bed, and turns up at the accountant once a year.
It's ideal, yeah.
Yeah. So you look for established business that you can improve and apply your way of doing things to an existing business.
Yeah.
Right. And is this a common thing that you're seeing, James?
Yeah, we're seeing quite a lot of small to medium-sized business being bought up in the UK.
Right.
Because quite a lot of businesses, they get to 3, 4, 5 engineers, one person in the office. They've never systemised their business. So the business is out of a shoebox or on pen and paper. And actually the value is in their head. They can't prove the value. It's an established business, but no real fundamentals other than the accounts. And the accounts don't tell you what, reoccurring revenue you're going to pick up from the customers that you might have had for 10, 15 years. Whereas if they'd have implemented a system, something like Simpro, early doors, run with Simpro, you'd be able to report on more than just the number, which tells the story, which increases the value of the business.
Right. Now, you talk about systems. What kind of systems are we talking about? It's kind of, a lot of the electricians watching this, they'll pop around, see a job, quote it, send a quote out to the customer, win the business, pop down the wholesalers, buy the bits, invoice the customer, might get paid.
Super high level. Simpro's in what's called job management software. So it's a global software company, but it's got a really established base in the UK. Job management software takes a lead. So someone making a phone call or an email in, you create a quote in the platform, you raise the job, you schedule it to an engineer, he picks it up on his phone or his tablet, or in the old days, a PDA.
The old days of PDA.
You'd be able to then send off purchase orders to suppliers or get quotes for the parts. You put that all on the job. Customer accepts it, send the engineer out. They take a load of pictures of the job, complete the work. That all comes back to the office, gets processed with a couple of clicks of a button. Customer gets the invoice with all the photos, certification, anything that you want within that's required for that job, paperwork-wise, to the customer. Customer pays, money's taken, goes and gets sent to an accounts package. That, in a real nutshell, is a job management system.
Right. So it's the process that you'd physically do, but in an electronic form.
Correct, yeah. You're digitalising your process from A to Z. The benefits of doing that at an earlier stage is that you don't need to employ lots of admin people to handle that flow of paperwork. You set a system up in place that does that for you. So it allows you to take on more work and employ more engineers or use more contractors, but not necessarily have a massive overhead with regards to office people that are not generating an income off the bat. And then, I mean, Mark will explain this probably better than me because he's still living it. I'd finished my journey in 2018, but the processes that you put in place when there's 2 or 3 of you, as long as you've got that solid foundation, as you grow, you just build on it, little steps each time. Whereas if you get to 7 or 8 people and you don't have processes in place, trying to put those in almost detracts from the business that you're doing because you have to stop, get those processes in, because you'll find that you can't take the next jump. You wouldn't be able to get to 9, 10 people because you don't have the processes to support it, and then things start going wrong. Jobs don't get completed on time. You're not sending invoices out. You're not paying your suppliers, or you're not getting the best terms with your suppliers because materials are expensive these days. Labour's expensive. You don't want to send an engineer to a job without the materials because you've just wasted a couple of hours of an engineer's time. Right. That's what job management is. Yeah.
So, Mark, did you start with job management in place when you first started the business?
No.
First started got to jobs.
I'm trying to think back now. We had an old accounts package. I can't remember what it was called now.
Sage line.
No, it was something.
Yeah, it would be the same.
I think something like cash flow or something like that. It was called. It was going back in the day.
Sounds like it came on the front of a magazine with a disc.
It was. I mean, that was what we used to start with, and we had no way really of costing jobs to understand what was happening on jobs. I think there was a projects function in it of some description, I think, from memory, but it was quite clunky. We then went to. It was one of the things that my first coach brought to the table was the need to have something like Simpro in the business. So I would say it'd been about 18 months in that it must have been 18 months in, I think it was, when we brought Simpro in. And we went then through obviously the onboarding process and training with it. It wasn't that we brought Simpro in too early. What we didn't do was we didn't spend enough time when we did bring Simpro in to get the real most out of it for us as a business. What we did is we brought the software in, we started to use it, and it was very clear of the advantages of it. What we then did is we just ran with it, and we ran with it for a few years. We never stopped to take stock and go, hang on a minute, the business is changing, we need to adapt with the software. So we got probably 5 years down the line, and we're going, right, okay, we need to do something about this. And then we ended up spending time with Simpro, going through the nuts and bolts of it, and actually, hang on a minute, we actually have got a function there in Simpro that actually would be really beneficial to us. If we did use this particular part in Simpro, this would save us a lot of time. If we put this add-on into Simpro, this would save us a lot of time. So what we've got is we've now got Simpro that, if you like, is a central brain of the business, and everything else, if it's not done by Simpro, it's done by something that plugs into Simpro now.
Right.
And that's kind of how we've set it up, and so far it seems to be working. It's working very well. There is no way we would be able to do what we do as a business without that software.
Right. So you run the whole business on Simpro.
Yes. So we run everything through Simpro, everything from leads to quotes, job management, cost, P&Ls of jobs, scheduling, the lot.
P&L?
Profit and loss.
Oh. I think profit, Joe. That's a lot of people forget about.
The lot. Everything goes through Simpro.
I think one key thing to mention, even though it is a global software company, we've got 200 plus in the UK. So we'll go to your place of work. We'll help implement the system. We'll give you the tools to be able to build your foundations in the way that you want it built, and then grow it out. Supports in the UK, trainers in the UK, people like me are in the UK.
You're doing a really good job selling it there.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Until that bit there.
What with me?
We can't edit that bit.
What can I say? I'm the weak link in Simpro. But just to use an example, when I had Simpro running my plumbing business, I took the same approach to Mark. Brought it in, first 18 months, ticked along with it. Yeah. built some basic foundations, but didn't get any wow moments.
How big was your business when you actually introduced it? So how many people did you have on board?
I had 4 engineers and 1 in the office at the time.
Or a similar sort of size.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had just employed our first full-time, no, she was part-time. We had just employed our first part-time admin, who's still with us today, who at the time we were going through the onboarding process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about the same as me, about the same sort of size. But we waited about, after about 18 months, we were like, we're not using enough of this. So we, like you did, took a little bit more training, was learning. We'd grown a bit since then. If you imagine, I was probably spending, give or take, about 1.8 million on materials because I was doing the new build contracts. I'd looked at my element of stock, so how I order materials, how I manage my stock, and how I return the returns. By doing a 3-month analysis and changing a few tweaks, year on year, I saved 8% in my material bill. So it's 8% of 1.8 million, just by learning an extra part of Simpro.
Right. So where did that come? I mean, that's quite a big number. Yeah.
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 I'm still trying to work out what that number is.
I'm trying to wonder where those materials are going.
Give me a minute, and I'll get there. You got it. Yeah.
It's about 150k. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a nice holiday. No, I'm joking.
So you've obviously got to that point where you've got 4 engineers roughly. You've got maybe 1-2 people, and that was that the breaking point for you as a business when you realised I can't do this now with a hook and a clipboard on it with a bunch of
guesstimates, I see,
stuff like that. And
For me personally, I always used to have trouble sleeping. My mind was always active, to the point where I used to sleep with, back in the day, do you remember the dictaphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to sleep with a dictaphone next to me. So I'd wake up during the night, voice record what was in my head so I could go back to sleep. This was at 4 engineers because I was running the whole business in my head. I always say I had more stress with 4 engineers than I did with 35. I slept better with 35 engineers because I had processes in place and systems in place. But that all started with that foundation that I put in with Simpro at 4 engineers.
Now, one thing that lots of kind of engineers and any staff that you might have, they don't like is change.
No,
when
nobody
systems
likes
come in and you start introducing that, were they issues you encountered to that kind of sweeping change that was coming in?
Well, yeah.
I was going to say, when we first put it in, no, because it was so early on in the business, there wasn't really a fixed system or process to replace. We were putting something in place that was needed. And I always remember another electrical contractor saying to me, you're so fortunate to be putting it into this stage of your business rather than the stage we are, where we're multiple engineers. They were sort of probably bigger than what we are now. And they were then trying to implement it and all the problems that brought. I think so it went in quite smoothly when we implemented it. When we then implemented that into the new company that we've just acquired, that then was a completely different scenario because you are taking a business that's been running for a number of years, and because you're putting in a central brain again into that business, and you're then controlling everything through that, you are completely changing the way that business operates. So that took a bit of getting used to, and is still taking a bit of getting used to for those people in that business, because they've gone from writing everything down on paper to now having iPads. They've gone from taking the invoices from the suppliers, manually putting them into the system, writing on them, stamping them, to the emails, the suppliers emailing the invoices, the AI picking up the invoice, reading the invoice, looking into Simpro, seeing who the project manager is in the job, emailing the project manager to say, is this okay to pay? The project manager hitting accept on the email, that going through Simpro, through into Xero and into the awaiting payment box. And it doesn't require hardly any human intervention unless there's a particular problem with the AI. That's the difference. So that's taken some getting used to.
You mentioned the AI word there. I thought we were going to get away with it. So there's AI in Simpro. What does the AI do inside there?
Yeah, Mark was talking about one of the new functions that we were bringing out. You've actually used it, haven't you?
We're just starting to use it now. Yeah. So that's with the engineers, when they can fill out their job cards at the end of the job, and they put their description of works in, they can actually use AI to complete their job sheet for them, all the description of works that they've completed. And I think it looks at what's been already, what the history is in the job and the details of it, and you can write a 1 sentence of what you've done, and it will then put it into a paragraph or 2, so it's customer facing. So when they submit that and that gets finalised in the office and goes with the invoice, it's customer facing, spelt, grammared, done, ready to go. Because if engineers are anything like me, spelling and writing don't come naturally.
Yeah.
And it's not always the most legible when you've done it. So something like that is a great tool.
Right, so that's essentially looking back in the chain, possibly back to the quote, so it knows it already knows what you quoted for and sort of followed the job through, and it's just, right, okay, so it's...
I mean, Simpro's been continuously evolved. It has an update every 2 weeks. AI has been on our roadmap for a while, but it's baby steps carefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a buzzword you throw into every conversation now. I mean, Joe is not real Joe, this is AI Joe. He's there.
I'm buffering again.
Now, obviously, the big buzzword in this country at the minute is productivity. It's, you know, especially in construction and all these things. If you look at, obviously, your business you'd built up, quite happily run on Simpro, and then buying somebody else's business, what would you say the productivity gain you're getting by having those proper systems and automation in place?
From a office point of view, massive savings and efficiencies, massive.
Right.
At Peterborough, we're still looking at what we can do further to make things more efficient by using Simpro. We're able to use, by using the systems within Simpro, we're able to use the admin to do a lot of the pre-work before it lands upon a project manager's desk to, say, for instance, put an estimate or tender together. So the admin are able to do a lot of the work before it turns up on their desk, which frees their time up. On the tools, I don't think it makes a huge efficiency necessarily, because you still have to go through the process of writing out the paperwork, or it doesn't for us anyway. I would imagine for other businesses who use it probably better than we do, I would imagine it makes quite an efficient.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the engineers still have to do the job. The filling out of the paperwork at the end of it is sort of the last bit of the job. You will get efficiency savings because you take a gas safety certificate rather than an electrical certificate. Bring it back to my comfort zone. It'll pre-template customer information, addresses, things like that. So on a hand, if you were doing a CP12 by hand, you'd have to write the customer address, the landlord address, agent's address, and all that information, whereas that's preloaded into the template because it's got the information in Simpro. So you're saving minutes with an engineer, whereas you're saving hours in an office.
And that's all. And is that the same for an EICR?
Yeah, any form. Yeah.
Excellent.
Right. Now, obviously, we're talking about work. I think we're going to take a little break because we're already 45 minutes in. We're going to have a look. Rick is not here, but he was here earlier in the week looking at a new tool. So we'll best have a look at that.
Some electricians are happy to install consumer units and circuit protection using an impact driver, relying on the unmistakable 2 Duggars as their version of a torque setting. A bold move, especially when fitting FDDs where applying hundreds of Newton meters of force to a device rated for less than 1 Newton meter and costing over £100 is a serious gamble just to save a few seconds. So is there a better way? We're putting the Jacamy torque controlled electric screwdriver to the test, kindly sent to us by Handboost. I'll drop a link in the description so you can check out the budget price. It's already proved its worth after we carried out an obstacle avoidance test which resulted in crashing into a TV aerial. This isn't the first time we've featured a torque controlled screwdriver. A few years ago we tested the Weir Speedy 2, which still divides opinion here at eFIXX. While the Speedy has 2 gears, the Jacamy, just like Gary's old Ford Cortina, has 4. I'll start by testing it out on some socket fronts, going all in with gear 4, the maximum setting of 0.76 Newton meters to 1 Newton meter. That's easily enough torque to fix this double socket in place without worrying about cracked faceplates. The light on the front is handy when working in poorly lit areas, and if it starts flashing, that means the battery is flat. Not to worry though, as it's easily recharged using the USB-C connection on the back of the unit. That means you can top it up with a standard mobile phone charger. It takes around 2 hours to fully recharge, giving a work time of about 60 to 80 minutes depending on how much force you need to apply. Next up, we'll try it on some RCBOs which have small screw heads with a torque setting of 1.2 Newton meters. It's fine for the initial wiring, but we'll still need to finish off with a manual torque driver to ensure everything is properly torqued and compliant. So with this device only going to 1 Newton meter, this doesn't look like a serious contender to replace a manual torque driver in distribution boards, so perhaps more suited intended for electricians who like to dabble in installing and repairing more electronic items. Let's try it out on some smaller terminals like the ones on this Cruiser PLC. Next, we'll move on to some screwed in rail terminals. The torque setting on these DIN rail terminals is around 0.5 Newton meters, so we need to switch to gear 2. Changing gears is a simple process. Just press the green button and you'll see the gear number displayed on the LED screen. On the screen you can also see the battery charge indicator. When the tool reaches its set torque, you can manually give it a final twist if needed, but that does take away from the point of having a powered driver. In the robust box, you'll find a huge range of bits, the ones most electricians will be familiar with in the H6.3 style, along with a vast range of smaller bits for some very strange looking screws in the H4 style. These are the types you'd need to dismantle mobile phones, repair drones, and work on other small electronics. A few other things in the box: a magnetizer to make screws stick to the bits, which can either be useful or a pain, in which case you can demagnetize the bits. For fine work, you can ditch the powered handle and use this manual screwdriver, or twiddler as we call it. There's also a wrist strap in case you fancy wearing the unit around town. I think this is more of a tool for the workshop rather than one you'll be using on site. While it's great for assembling electronics and lighter duty electrical tasks, it doesn't quite replace a proper torque driver for distribution boards. However, for jobs like control panel work, repairing smaller electrical devices, or assembling DIN rail components, it could be a real time saver. Maybe this tool would be ideal for, dare I say it, the security installer. Let me know what you think of it compared to some of the other options like the Weha Speedy or even the manual Vera Turbo. One key difference between these alternatives is that they are insulated, which raises a common question we get. Do you need to use insulated screwdrivers?
Fixture all time.
Yeah, I loved how young Mr. Robinson looked in that video. He just, looked like a pinnacle. But yeah, what did we think of that tool?
Well, let's find out. It's not what we think.
Should we go and have a look?
Yeah.
Follow me. So
Have a
this
closer inspection.
week I get to be Gary. So if you come with me,
You get to be Gary.
I get to be Gary. Okay.
Oh dear,
So,
I'm dreading this.
have you ever seen Shooting Stars or
Nope.
program like that? So basically, what they've got to do is they've got to beckon down, a dove from above. However, we might get in trouble for doing that. So we've got the tool from above.
Okay.
Okay, so what I need you to do, because you're quite a successful business person as well, aren't you? You've done all right for yourself. You've got 5 loving kids at home and a lovely wife. So I want you to come down with me, come on your knees, come on. And no, I'm saying that. That's it. You're all doing absolutely fine, don't you? We can see this tool.
Yep.
We need that, don't we? So I want you to do this with me. Yeah, you do that? Yeah?
We'll give it a go, shall we?
Yeah, we'll just try it. Here we go. Yeah,
It's not working, is it?
Well, no, because I'll be honest, that effort was a bit pathetic. Okay, you might have a successful business in Peterborough, but you can't beckon down at all. Come on, let's try again. Here we go. We can do it.
There you go. No, I've got to keep going.
There we go. Well done, Gaffer. Here we are. Up you come now. Up you come.
Yeah.
So, we had a look at this earlier,
Yes.
didn't we? So I'll pass you that. This is the electronic screwdriver. What do you think? Let's head over here. So this is our tool wall. 11 is right up here. Normally we've got a coffee maker machine up there, but it seems to have... Oh, it's over there, look. Down here, this is where our rubbish items are. So kind of 1 down here, 11 up there. Where do you think that's placed, this electronic screwdriver?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these for doing up terminals and things. Probably good for putting back socket fronts because it isn't going to hopefully crack the face of them. But I'm not a big fan of them for terminations. I don't think it can beat using a proper screwdriver. So I'll probably put this reasonably low. So
yeah,
we'll
so
put
you've got kind of 1 down
I'm
here.
not going to go. I'm probably going to go somewhere about there. What's that? About 3?
I think that's about a 3.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's about.
Yeah, I'd go there. I'm not a huge fan of them because I don't think you can beat a proper screwdriver.
Yeah. Well, you did say earlier that you quite like these, and you're going to get all your engineers one of these.
Absolutely not.
Cracking their sockets.
Absolutely not.
No? Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, there we go. There we are. The I thought that was pretty good. I mean, it doesn't talk up to 1.2, but I thought this was all right.
I must say, I haven't dismantled the challenge wall. Yeah. Neither does Mark talk up to 1.2 either. It was like 10.2 on those RSPO screws. It was like, wow. Thought they'd been welded in.
It's got its place, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a nice bit of gear. I didn't know
It's got its place.
that was all right. Have we got any comments in?
The Toooooool CI Productions. Well, Barton Joe's last 5 years, they've aged them. So it's bottom of the wall. So I think people are with you on that one. I think, yeah. I mean, I think it's probably people send us some stuff in. Yeah, it's for if you want to repair your foot. It is good on the drone. As I say, we did use it on the drone when we had a television aerial accident with our expensive drone straight out of the box. It was, they have got obstacle avoidance on them, but they don't see television aerials. So.
It's got its place, isn't it?
Yeah.
And doing up terminations, I don't think, especially now when there's a lot more emphasis on the need for torque settings and things. I don't think that's got the. I don't think that's for me. That's not something I'd want to see my engineers using for tiny up terminations.
Yeah, there we go. Right, now, obviously topic comes up, always the keen-eyed eFIXX viewers always wonder about the value of things, not just the screwdrivers. When you were looking at, obviously, systems, you decided you need to put systems in place, you want some job management software. Where did you go in the market first? Did you have a good look around?
Yes, we did have a look around. So I was introduced to Simpro. We had the demo with Simpro. The sales guy came out and did a very good job of selling it to us. I remember specifically him going on our website, taking case studies off our website and putting them into his building Simpro as part of to demonstrate the system to us, which I thought was very good. We looked at a few of the systems. None of them had the same sort of capability as what Simpro did. There was probably some that maybe there's probably some out there that probably do similar sort of things. I think it's horses for courses, though, isn't it? You've got to find what's right for you and what's right for your business and what's going to create you the most efficiencies.
Now, James, obviously people start talking about price and things like that, and obviously your price. And you look on a website, it's not. It's not there. I can't remember 14-day free trial.
Yeah, no, it's nothing dodgy. It's just Simpro's not it is off the shelf, but being a more complex job management system, we need to understand the business to understand how the pricing works. So if you take more of an incubator job management simple, so a real simple version where they offer you a 14-day trial, you can download it, you can play with it yourself, you get to the end of 14 days and sign up or don't sign up. Simpro's not like that. It comes as a blank canvas. So the first thing that we do is a consultative approach to understand your business and then work together to understand the value that Simpro could bring in your business if you were to implement it. And implementing is quite a crucial part of it. We then still don't just give you a blank canvas. We, as part of that process, is how many days implementation or training do you need with someone in your business to set Simpro up? I mean, Mark, you've had a more recent experience with implementation than I have. I mean, I go back to sort of 2014 of my implementation days.
Yeah, it's absolutely fun, absolutely key. You can't really, if you're going to take something like Simpro seriously, you have to go through the implementation. And it doesn't take a little bit of time, it does take a little bit of money, but it's absolutely fundamentally important. You can't take Simpro off the shelf and just run with it because there's too much customization that really needs, I think, to make it work for your business, isn't there? Yeah. And you can't do it, even to the point when we put Simpro into the second business and we put a function in it called multi-company, so they're linked. Although they're separate, there's also certain things where they share different bits of information, which is quite useful as well for reporting and so on. Even doing that, there was elements of that where we had to get Simpro's help to set that up to make sure it functioned and worked properly for the business. Even putting that in there, we still had Simpro's trainers come out and go through with the guys in that particular business and train out how to use it properly as well.
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Like with the 14-day free trial software, there's nothing wrong with them, but it's fit for purpose. This is how you will do a job, and that's how you will always do a job because that's what the program says. So what you'll find is if you took an incubated job management software, you'd get to a certain level, 3-4 engineers, something like that, and you start to break it because you need more functionality, which is then when people start looking at Simpro and then understand the value. Or we have people that are just pen and paper coming straight over to Simpro. But fundamentally, we don't offer a 14-day trial, and we don't offer like it's just this cost because we need to understand the business to discuss with you what that value looks like from an implementation and then a license cost as well. So it's that journey that you go on with us.
And that's not uncommon for other software in the market. I've done CRM implementations in the past, and sometimes at first there's ones that look, oh, great, there's an off-the-shelf package, and then you bring it in, you regardless of the software, you still have to spend a lot of time getting people used to it, and getting people working it. But then there's like one feature missing that's
and then that one feature becomes 2 features, which becomes 3, and as your business grows, then all of a sudden you're using multiple spreadsheets and hardly using that incubator job management system, and then you need something with that flex. The thing I personally love about Simpro is it will scale with you. So if you're 2 or 3 people, you'll put it in, you'll lay your processes. If you then grow to 250, 300 engineers, it will still be with you, and it would have evolved as your business has evolved. When I first took on Simpro, I didn't do new builds. I was domestic only. And then I brought in new builds. So that was project work, tendering for £100,000 million plus jobs. Well, I never envisioned that when I first bought Simpro.
Right, so there's that sort of different modules in the software?
No, you get it all as one pack, but you buy Enterprise Simpro as a unit, but I never used that element of it because I was just doing domestic work. Right. So it was there.
The tendering element.
But you just had to then learn that part of it, and the learning toolbox is there. So there's all that online help, or like Mark said, you can reach out and get a trainer to your office for a day or 2 to step you through the right process.
I think one thing you mentioned, I think you probably mentioned it earlier actually, what you said about the support team. That again is really important because when something like Simpro, it's a very not complicated but complex. There's a lot to it. So sometimes when you've got something you either want to know, can I do such and such in whatever way, or why isn't this working? You can pick the phone up to them and they'll talk you through it, which is great. They can go into your builder and sort it. And I think there's a lot of software systems out there that just don't have that backup and support. And the problem you have is when you have something that's as in your business that's as important as what Simpro is, you have to have that backup, because if you lose your software for a few hours because you can't do something or because something stopped working, it's disastrous for you. The cost of it is colossal. You probably don't see the cost, but the cost of what it actually costs you when you have downtime, when you have problems with it, is colossal.
Right. So do you find, the sort of similar, because I've had this in the past, it sounds similar to sales. So you've got a Rolls-Royce package that'll do everything. Are some of the customisations you're doing in-house in terms of tweaking stuff, but then obviously when it comes to putting a whole new system in, that's when you sort of have to go out to you go back to head office for a bit of support. Is that what I'm sort of...
So Simpro has a core, so there's customization built within inside, so you can put custom, tabs in areas, and there's different functionalities you might use. But if, say, for example, you wanted to integrate a completely separate piece of software, I don't know, something to do with solar panels, for argument's sake, that was specific to a contract, and they had their own software, you'd reach out to the partner team, and the partner team would introduce a partner to Mark, who would then build a bespoke integration between the two.
Right.
And that's what I mean by the flexibility of Simpro. Not only is the core flexible, but we have a really large partner network with what we call plugins. Simpro stays as the central source of truth, and you plug more information into it.
Yeah.
My question was, so there's a big difference, isn't there, between quotation and tendering as a process. I almost see tendering as the grown-up way of doing a quote. Now, you said about tendering.
Yeah.
I remember having to go through construction line, having to do all of this stuff, which was, that's what I got very scared of.
Yeah.
Is your software kind of bringing all of that kind of legal stuff, all the health and safety stuff that has to come with that whole tendering process when you're putting that out?
You've normally got all that health and safety or that element for tender built in as attachments inside Simpro that you just attach in as part of that quote, or you can build out a bespoke tender pack. So, you tender for A, B and C, it's got all the amendments already built into it. It depends on the framework.
Because I'm coming from a point of where, I'm writing down a snotty quotation to say, right, that's how much I'm going to bash your house around for, compared to having to seal up my quote and drop it into somebody by hand and getting a receipt that I've delivered it. That's the difference from what I felt between being a sole proprietor to then potentially moving on to that next level for those big contract items. There might be a lot of electricians out there that might be at that moment, that point, you know, that point that you once got to.
I think the good thing about it is you can, like with your estimates, you send your estimates. It's a fully traceable electronic system that covers all bases. You can even put online acceptance and all that sort of thing, and there's all sorts of things you can do with it. To be honest, for the bigger tendering now, for the bigger projects, we tend now to send those out externally rather than use our in-house resource. And what they actually tend to do is we have, before we've given them access into our Simpro build, what they tend to do is they tend to use their packages that they know and they're familiar with. They send us the data and then we input it into Simpro, is what we tend to do. But where we're looking at contractors, management, and all that sort of thing, we've got critical paths in there. We've got all their accreditations, insurances all in there. If the insurance runs out, it blocks you from raising a work order for the contractor. It's got the lot. You wouldn't be able to. I would not be able to run a business like we do without it. I could, you know, today I've been out of the business now for a day. The phone hardly rings.
I'll justify that. Yeah. James's phone never stops.
Apart from, you know, obviously the emails still keep ticking along. Today the phone's been very quiet. That's because I've got a team that are absolutely brilliant at what they do, albeit they are extremely busy at the minute, but they are absolutely brilliant at what they do. But we've got a system that they can all work around. If you take the system out, the whole thing will collapse. Because you have to have that brain and that system in the middle that holds everything together. That's the fundamental brain that everything else comes from. If you're going to bring new people into the business, they have to come in and they have to follow your systems and your IT systems that you're using for it to work.
Yeah. Now, I'm right in thinking you have got an offer for people. There's a few people who are sort of interesting, but they're always hung up on the price, the eFIXX viewers. But you've got an offer, haven't you, if people?
Yeah.
There's a QR code, Joe, if you bring it up on screen.
Instead of sort of offering 10% discount on Simpro when you don't know the price, it's kind of pointless. What I wanted to bring to the table that was something that was valuable to your viewers. And Mark's had really great experience with business coaches, and we have a lot of partners that are business coaches. So I've reached out to them and explained this situation where what we'd like to do is anyone that inquires about Simpro, yes, you'll have a chat with someone from Simpro, but it will be what we call qualification chat. You know, is this something for you? Is this not? Can we point you in a different direction of a competitor because actually that's the better product for you rather than us? But either way on the outcome, what we'd like to give is an hour's consultation with one of our business coaches that are not, they're affiliated to us because they're a partner, but they're not employed by Simpro. So these are businesses doing business coaching. So anyone that inquires using the QR code or the link, they'll speak to someone at Simpro, we'll get all the details, and then we'll introduce them to the right business coach where they'll get an hour's free. Well, it'll be free to them, we'll cover the hour's cost. Right. And that way it was kind of giving something back to your viewers.
Right.
So hold on a second.
Go on.
Because I don't know if I heard free.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to cost us a fortune.
There's nothing I love more than a free mint.
Free anything, Joe.
Free anything.
We'll love something, anything that's free. So anyone out there on that edge, on that point that I was at, I was too much of a coward. You were there, you weren't. You were there, you weren't. The QR code, they could talk to somebody, but it's not a sales. You know, they're not going to be constantly ringing me every single.
Not at all. We will have a conversation with them. We will qualify in or qualify out. I give them a bit of advice. Is Simpro the right path? Not now. Come back. You know, a little bit later. Do this, do that. But fundamentally, it's about setting them up with one of our business coach partners across the UK. There's about 80 of them, so there's enough to go around. Setting them up with the right person that then that they can have an hour's consultation free of charge, or we cover the cost of it. Because I think for some people, this might be a massive culture shock. And actually, they just want to talk to someone about, is growing a business the right thing for me? You know, should I talk to a business coach first before I think about systemization? And anyone that joins Simpro and, you know, becomes part of the ecosystem that we're building, we want them for the long term. We don't want someone to join and then 6 months later realise it's the wrong choice. They're unhappy, we're unhappy because we've invested a load of time in training them. They've invested a load of time in learning the system, and it's just not a great fit. We want people to like grow over the years. We want to see them 6 years down the line. The business that I sold is still using Simpro. They're the sort of stories that we want, because we want to help grow businesses in the UK. So I think the best offer I can give you is that hours free with a business coach, so you can just have a heart-to-heart conversation.
Did you get an hour's free with the business?
I might see if I can get. I might see what I can get on that one.
Are you going to be tapping?
QR code.
You're going to be tapping up that QR code, aren't you?
Absolutely. Why not?
Okay, because I mean that's again, you're looking for, it'll only work for contractors who want to grow. This is not one man in a van and an apprentice, and that's, I'll pull down the shutters when I'm 65.
No.
This is people like Mark, aspirate, we love Mark now, don't we?
I was going to say that the key is you've got to understand where you want your business to go, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you want to grow it, or do you want it? Some people are quite happy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Just have them, and maybe one other or two other, and they do very successful. Do very well on their own, and it suits their lifestyle and everything else. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Other people want to go on and they want to achieve other things, and again, it's each their own.
If those, those people that are listening, one guy apprentice, maybe two people in an apprentice, if they still want to take advantage of that hour, even though we know they won't be a fit for Simpro, they can still click on the QR code. We'll still put them through the process, and they can still have that hour. I don't want to. I don't want to differentiate between any of your viewers. Everyone's welcome to do it. That hour's free, even if you're not a fit for Simpro.
Yeah, I think Neil needs to try it. He's thinking it's going to be a sales call. I think he's.
Give it a go, Neil, and then you can hand my mobile number over to Neil, and if it is, he can have a direct conversation with me.
Yeah, I will. I'll do that.
It won't be.
He's on it. So yeah. It depends what your business is like, Neil. That's how much the trading costs, I think, is the one. But but as coach, obviously, you've used it and sold a business.
Yep.
You're on a journey. I'd say, obviously, people out there, if you're running your business in a shoebox, and that's how you do it, you can probably, Mark will make you an unreasonable offer to buy and take it off your hands if you're in a niche market that is not in. If you bring in some systems and things like that, you might get a better price for it. Things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It can be for bigger businesses that want to be stable as well.
We take,
improve your productivity.
We take the national businesses as well as the 2-3 people. It's that flexible.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, going back years ago when I used to have a proper job, it was. I started in a business that had a filing cabinet-based system, and I found that unmanageable. It was horrendous. It was, this is the days when stuff used to turn up at fax. Everyone would be stood around a fax machine. So it's getting worse as this fax gets longer and longer. We moved to what was an early CRM system, and that was transformational, really, in terms of. I went from we were on about it earlier, the battle board. I had an office filled. I used to put all the files on a wall, and it used to have a card in the front, and red said that there was an absolute car crash of a job, disaster. Green, everything's okay. Amber, waiting for the customer. That was a visual system.
I mean, just the simple one of how many purchase orders how many purchase orders you raise, or how many invoices did you take from your supplier that you've then got to sort out at the end of every month and then pay. Just that one thing alone can be digitalised.
I think there's one really important thing that we've probably not touched on as well with this, is the data with a system like Simpro that gives you. How do you know that your customers are actually making you money? Because you don't unless the data tells you. So we've had a quite harsh lesson to learn over the last year. We've actually had a couple of customers where we were ignoring the data. We knew they weren't particularly great customers for us. They weren't really doing our business any favours, but we were ignoring the data because the data told us to stop working with them. When we stopped working with them and we followed the data, we saw the results very quickly.
Right.
In the performance of the business. Now, that journey came about because I went to an event in London that was actually with Simpro, and everybody on the panel and everybody and all the talkers throughout the day were talking about data, follow the data Simpro gives you this, the data, that was the buzzword for the day, was data. I went away from that and I started running a few more reports out of Simpro than what I'd normally done, and actually sat there and went, right, okay, customer A, customer B, we need to trade away from because they're not the right fit from our business. What we've then done is we've then sat there with our BDM team and looked again at the data that we're getting out of it and going, what clients perform best for us? Where are we going to expand our business? What market are we going to target? What sort of customers do we want to be working with? Because we know these customers do really well. We know these ones don't. So these are the ones that we need to focus our efforts in. But if you don't have a brain in the middle that collects all this data and gives you it, you can't make those data-based decisions that will drive your business forward.
BDM?
Business development.
It's another TLA.
I mean, that's a reasonably new thing to us. We've only just recently, because we've always grown organically, we've never pushed sales. So it's quite a new thing to us. So we've brought in a business development manager on and we've brought him in freelance for a couple of days a week to help push that side of things along. And again, he's going into Simpro, he's putting out the data and he's telling us what's going on with things, which has been really good.
Yeah. And that's so you've walked away from customers,
Absolutely.
Traded away like that. Put the price up. Is that the?
I mean, look, one of them, I emailed one of the directors and just went, look, thanks very much for your work, but I'm going to level with you. We don't really make any money from you, and we're going to have a break from working with you. Now I was probably a bit more diplomatic with that because I got a very nice email back from the guy wanting to meet up for coffee and discuss it, but ultimately the decision was still the same. We knew that particular customer wasn't right for our business because the data had told us so. We knew the feedback we were getting from the guys on site were having frustrations with it. So we made that decision to trade away, and we were quite open and honest with the customer.
Right, okay.
How great would it be?
Well, that's
You can walk away, you're not the right fit. Your money's not right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put that one back out to the community, actually. Have you ever turned work down here because you're too busy or just because it's not your kind of work? You don't want that kind of work. It'll be interesting to see what comes in.
Is that like the silly quote, isn't it, of, you want a new kitchen fitted, or I'll have to double my price because it's a house and it's got a tiled bathroom above it that I don't want to...
But look, you don't just have to turn the work away. If work's coming in that doesn't fit your business, and when you get to a certain size of business, you have to have a criteria of what a customer looks like. You have to have this is what a good customer looks like, not just what a customer. This is what a good customer looks like. These are the sort of people we want to be working with. When you get to the stage where you've got people coming who don't fit that criteria, you could just politely decline the quote, or what you could do is you could pass them on to somebody else who maybe is the right fit for that. Now that might be one of your clients. You might look at that and go, well, we don't do that element of work, but so-and-so does. Why not pass it on to them? Score some brownie points between your customers and partners as well. Just because it's not right for you doesn't mean it's not right for somebody else.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Now, looking ahead, obviously, you mentioned sales, which is not something, contractors and sales, is it? So you actively chase sales on projects? Or?
We have never had a sales team as such. It's always been organic growth. When we've seen an opportunity, we've jumped on it. However, with the way the economy is going now, we're now looking at it going, well, look, we want to make sure we're bucking the trend of anything that's coming down the line. So our strategy with that is to attack growth. And we will do that through trying to increase our sales. And we've got a very specific plan that's being put together at the minute that are targeting what customers we want to go after, how we want to go after them, and the sort of work that we want from them.
Right. Okay. So you're obviously not going to tell us because we're all on it, but you've got you know exactly what that ideal customer looks like.
Yeah, but that's work that comes about from working with somebody like a coach, where you can sit in the room and you can go and you can have that conversation about what your strategy is and what your plan is.
Yeah.
Because then you've got somebody to bounce the ideas off as well, and somebody who can help guide and point you in the right direction, ask you the questions. Well, what does that customer look like? Well, what sort of work, what sort of value do you want? What do you want your average order to value to be in that sector?
Yeah.
Can you actually deliver the work of those values?
Right, okay. And then obviously you're building up a sales pipeline of stuff. Can you obviously get visibility to how busy, say a hit rate, we'll say, if you were going to win 30% of those orders, are you getting visibility into how busy you're going to be?
Absolutely. So we can see through the reports that we run out of at Simpro, we can see what customers we're winning our work with. We can see what percentage of quotes our management team are winning. So if a project manager's winning X amount of quotes with this particular customer, that particular customer he doesn't win any quotes with. And we can start to build that up, and we're putting a lot of effort into this particular customer. but we ain't winning no work with them. So we need to have a conversation with them, and that is either going to be a case of why are we not winning the work, and then you can make a commercial decision on what you want to do with it then. But you have to, once you get the reports, and you can use the forecast tools in Simpro, and you know, whether or not you can export the data out of Simpro and put it into your own forecast systems if you want. But it then means that you've got visibility of what's coming down the line. And you might look at it and go, actually, we've got a dry patch coming up. We've got a patch in 3 months' time where the normal forecast would normally be an X, and actually it's a lot lower than that. We've got a problem coming down the line. Right, now let's go back to our system. Let's look at our average conversion dates of our quotes, and let's see who do we convert quotes with quickest.
Yeah.
Right, let's go and talk to those customers. Let's go and talk to those sort of people and see what, and see if we've got any work to come out of those guys.
Right. Okay. Now, to obviously flip it, winning business, you've obviously got to buy some bits to do the business. If you were then latching into supply chain,
Yeah.
so in terms of those purchase orders.
Yeah, so we've got integrations with national suppliers. This mentions Screwfix, for argument's sake.
Right, everyone loves Screwfix. Open on Sundays when everyone else isn't.
So the idea is that we want to give you as much visibility and function inside Simpro as possible. So by taking what you see on the website, your price list on the website, and putting it into Simpro, then allows you to pick the purchase order and either invoice it directly to Screwfix, or you can still order it on the web. But crucially, you're collating the information inside Simpro. So when you get that invoice from Screwfix, you can mark it off. So you start understanding, to Mark's point, are you making money on each job that you're doing?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Why I do work for free, everyone can be busy fools. If you can make it seamless to be able to do a profit analysis, i.e. how long has someone spent on site and how much of your materials cost, for the simplest of jobs, you know, the £100 job here and there, if you make that seamless, those £100 jobs add up over the course of a month. You can soon start to work out which of those 100 like little jobs or even those big jobs are profitable or not. So, you know, using Marks as an example, you might find that those £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 jobs that you're doing that you're really excited about because they're a big ticket item, actually you're not making much money out of them because you haven't priced the materials right or you're spending too long on site. Whereas those little £100, £200 jobs, your profit margins are so much bigger on.
So you're in. Your £100 jobs. Yeah. But you plugging in. So again, to quote a job, you're not having to go. Have you got all of your pricing data in Simpro for the jobs you're quoting on?
Yeah, most of it. Depending on the sort of work that we're pricing, we have most of it set up. We've either got it set up with pre-builds, or we've got the items put into the catalogues, and then we will have scripts for the quote text as well. So literally, I don't know, let's use an EV quote, for example, where we've got groundworks for the EV chargers to go in. We can bring up the script and it will tell us it's already pre-text, and all we do is delete out the bits we don't want, maybe put the meterages in the boxes. That's your text for your groundworks, it's done.
Right, okay.
It takes a couple of minutes.
Right.
So you've got to sit there typing it all out.
And you've got a standard price for your groundworks for that type of...
We do. Well, we just send it. We have a system. We have a groundworks contractor who prices all that for us.
Right.
Scheduler rates, isn't it? SOR codes.
Oh, there you go.
Social housing,
Yeah.
you use the SOR code, the National Housing Association.
It's still around, yeah.
Used to distribute.
And then is that the same if you're using someone to tender? Are they pulling off bill of materials and then you pull that in with the tender?
Yeah, you can do all that.
Right. And then the price, so if it's 3 miles of trunking, you've got your 3 miles of trunking price.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, that sounds,
Sounds like you're in.
Yeah, I'm in. We're going into contract.
You're both going to work for Mark, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going.
I'm no longer a coward. I've got an hour's free consultation. Notice will be on the desk, Gary, in the morning. That's if you're coming back. We don't know.
That's the argument with Rick, actually. Just touching back to tools, actually, we did have to find out which tools did you pick. I did notice the Klein ones in there. We did offer the choice earlier on. Let's just have a quick look, Joe, see on the old Klein or DeKlein.
So it's back-to-back Electricians challenges, and we're going again, and we're going to find out if our guests climbed or declined. So we're going to start with you, James. Did you climb or decline?
I climbed.
You climbed?
I climbed.
Are you sure? Because
Well, I did appreciate the special tool.
Well, I think we all saw you make the socket off with this. I think it's fair to say James has come with his tools, and I've never seen anyone make off a cable using an a broken adjustable spanner as well.
Have a working one.
Exactly.
Yeah, who needs that?
Mark, Klein or DeKlein?
Klein.
Klein, excellent. So you didn't bring your own tools now, you thought?
I used the excellent tools provided.
Excellent stuff. And how do you think you got on?
I think I beat the plumber.
Yeah.
I hope.
We better hope so. So it was good of James to bring in his hand tools. Decided not to use them in the end. I thought these were from a farrier. These from, but yeah, the crowbar and a broken adjustable. I don't even know how.
Well used.
How did you even break that, James?
Who knows?
Hey?
Who knows?
No.
That's an easy, the endless adjustable spanner.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, just to sort of, we're getting up to an hour and a half here, but advice to give to people if you were starting a contracting business today, some gems, and it doesn't have to be about Simpro, sort of powerful lesson learned from the man whose phone's never rang all day. We're going to take this advice.
Coaching is an absolute must if you're going to if you're seriously looking at growing a business.
Right.
You need somebody to advise and work with you on it. The other thing is as well is make sure you surround yourself by a team. I might be sat here and if you like be the face of the person who's laughing and joking here, but ultimately I'm not the one who's built the business. The people who have built the business and my team, they're the people who have done the work. It's not me. And there is absolutely no way we would be able to achieve what we're achieving today without the guys and girls I've got in the office and out in the tools. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, okay. And James, obviously now semi-retired from selling your successful plumbing business.
Yeah. I echo what Mark says, but I think understanding what your goal is, and that doesn't have to be I want 100 engineers or it. I started off with a goal when I set up my business. I wanted 10 engineers. In my mind, that was like my benchmark. Then I got to 10 engineers. Then I set another goal. But I think the goal is yours. You're not proving anything to anyone else. You might want a really good lifestyle. You might want to work 4 days a week and actually just be work on your own as a self-employed person. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But be true to yourself and set your goal.
Yeah, I'd echo that. There is a good business book. It's a really old one, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's much easier in audio book to listen to than actually reading the book as you fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I would recommend they always start with the end in mind.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if you don't pay attention to the roots, you don't get the fruits. So the ones that are stuck in my mind, you're going to use that now, aren't you?
Wow, this is what I've missed out on, isn't
Yes.
it? You know, not anymore though.
Not anymore. Not anymore. That's always a good one. Obviously, we touched on it earlier on. Apprenticeships. Obviously, you're building your own future team as well.
Absolutely, apprenticeships is one of the core values. Training the next generation. That's absolutely fundamental in the business. We've got 16 apprentices now across the group, and we heavily invest in them. We've got our own training rigs we've put into the warehouse now to enable them to practice their skills as well. We do spend a lot of time with the colleges, helping them out where needed with bits and pieces. But growing our own is absolutely fundamental because there is so much pressure being put on the industry now to deliver not only normal electrical lighting infrastructure projects, but also with the renewable tech that's coming down the line, that's if not already here. We need more people in this industry, and my fear is that we will get to 10, it might not even be as far away as that, 5 years down the line, and it won't be about what's your quote or what's your price, can you deliver it financially? It'll be, can you deliver it from a resource point of view? We've already had it recently. Last September, we had a customer who wanted a particular job doing by a date, and out of 4 contractors who looked at the job, we were the only ones that were able to deliver the job within that time frame, which we actually delivered it 2 days early over the course of 3 months, I think it was. But the fundamental point I was making is it comes back to resource. You have to have the resource to be able to deliver it. And if you don't spend the time planning and training in the next generation, we're not going to have the resource of the industry.
That's a powerful thing. So would you say you're optimistic about the future? Or is it a sort of You know, obviously skills shortages in theory should drive prices up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I think let's not kid ourselves. We're not going to have a plain sailing next coming 5 years, but there's plenty of room for optimism. There's a lot of good stuff still to be had out there. I think businesses need to adapt and change to suit the current climate and what is coming down the road, because it's not going to get. It's not going to. I don't think we're going to have a big set of boom years like we had years ago. It is going to be a case of mucking in and some hard work.
I think from everyone. Yeah. Now, obviously, there is that great offer in there. Obviously, people sceptical. I would say if someone offers you a free offer, that it's not. You don't have to buy it. You can give it a trial. I'm quite happy if people get in touch with me either by email, social media as well. I'll send you details through to James as well.
I'll happily have a chat with anyone who's sceptical before you.
Yeah. Hopefully tonight we've shown you. Yeah. Fantastic work, Mark. I think you're doing a great job. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's you obviously, and challenge wall as well. I mean, winning here, never answers the phone, never has to answer the phone. Fast on the wall, been off the tools for 18 years, still not on the tools.
Yeah. Come in and smash it. And even our resident plumber, who's took a bit of stick today, but an incredibly respectable time. So no,
Appreciate that.
you did a smashed on there.
The banter's been fun.
The banter's been well. That's the last bit of banter. Let's just have a look. Obviously, the slowest person has to clean up before we go there. Let's just go into the Greencable bin. It is back now. You will notice our bin is jam-packed full of cables because we're tidying out the other unit, so that needs to get emptied, which is just as well because Greencable are coming to see us in a few weeks. Yep.
They are, yeah.
You'll
are
be
we still double dipping, by the way, are we?
You are right. In fact, Doncaster Cables send us the cable to use in the challenge wall. Yeah, our esteemed guest turned it into high-value scrap. The loser puts it in the bin. The person who was slowest puts it in the bin, and then Greencable come and pick it up and recycle it for it into our bank account. You've never heard of that system? You're going to get one of those bins.
Yeah, I've already taken a photograph of that and sent to somebody in the office and asked them to look into it.
Yeah. Is there a Simpro module to manage the waste copper cable bin, or is this just a little bit of cash we can shove out the back door?
I'm sure it's something we could talk to them about.
Yeah. So there you go.
There's always a plug-in.
Yes. So we will be back in actually a week. We'll be back on the 2nd of April. We'll be drawing the winner of the boxing competition for LEW. So check out the link in the description. There's a QR code for Simpro as well, and there's a link in the description as well. Everyone will want to win that. Don't forget, £50 off your first LEW electrical distributors. Are they in your area? Just £50 off. Oh, you've already got an account. That's a shame. You don't get the £50, but there you go. If you set up that other companies, make sure all those other companies you're buying get the £50, get the account open. Yeah. We'll do that. I'm trying to persuade the people from Allbro to come on, the South African electrical equipment manufacturer. Oh, yes. Next week. They're not from South... Well, the guys who are up there from Sunderland, but that's a bit like South Africa, really. up in Sunderland. I'm not going to ask why. So, try to convince them to pop down and see us next week. If not, we will be back in 2 weeks with the guys from Greencable, which, again, is another fantastic business story. We might see Gary and Rick again at some point.
I hope so.
Yeah, if they manage to recover over the Wago incident. But apart from that, it is. Again, thank you to our wonderful guests. We've had a fantastic day.
Thank you.
We've learned loads. Get those audio books downloaded and a bit of business coaching booked in and a trial with Simpro. Get that free hour. We will see you next time.
Roll the credit.
I used to think more graft meant more dough. Now I'm knee deep in wires but nowhere to go. Late nights, bright lights, stress on my plate, till I met two legends who set me straight. Mark's got a crew and they're smashing it fast. James built his biz, they left it in the past. Now they're dropping knowledge bombs, holding a class on how to go smart, not fall flat on your back. You don't need more sparks to light the flame. Don't burn out just chasing fame. System steps and thinking slick, not just stacking jobs up thick. Grow that biz, don't lose your wig. Working smarter is the trick. Hiding's a trap if you rush the game. Double the crew, double the pain. But with the right tools and a tight plan, you'll scale like a boss, not a madman. It's not about grinding till you're toast. It's building a biz you can one day ghost. A setup so slick you don't even show, but the money still flows, bro.